Welcome to another episode of the Terrific Tips for Business podcast. Why terrific? Because you can't spell terrific without Terry, and I'm your host. Welcome and thank you for joining me. And today I have a new friend that I want to share with you, and I'm so excited and grateful to know Adam Kipnes and have had the opportunity to meet him and talk with him. And I can't wait to share him and some of his knowledge with you. So for those of you that don't know Adam, let me introduce him. So Adam was born and raised in the Midwest, and he's gone from the Midwest to the pages of Forbes.com. What? That's so incredible, right? Adam Kipnes sure has come a long way. He's recognized as a top marketing strategist and business breakthrough specialist. He can show any business owner in less than 45 minutes how to triple their current number of leads, double their sales, and increase their annual revenue by $30 or $30,000 to $50,000 or more without even spending a cent on their marketing or advertising. Now that's magic, guys. That is absolute magic. That's pure gold. So I'm so excited to have him here. And you know why now, because this is just information we're not going to get from just anybody on the show. Adam is the go-to coach and advisor for many independent professionals, including accountants, realtors, real estate investors, attorneys, and medical practices, 22 of whom have crossed over $1 million in annual revenue. 4 of Adam's clients have even grown from under 100,000 to over 1 million under his guidance. So he's really been pivotal to their growth in their business. He is regularly featured on C-Suite Radio, Forbes.com, and his system has been seen on NBC, CBS, ABC, and Fox. He is also the creator of the new podcast, The Entrepreneur's MBA, and the author of How to Make More Money in Your Business and $14.95, It's All About the Decimal. Giving back and serving is an important part to Adam's life, and he serves as the co-chair of the Phoenix Tour de Cure, a bicycle ride, walk, run that raises over $700,000 annually for diabetes. Guys, this is somebody who is not just in tune with what's going on in the business market space, but he is somebody who's in tune with what's going on in the world. And so please join me in welcoming Adam to the show. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks, Terry. It's been wonderful getting to know you and just the opportunity to be on your show. Thanks again.
Yes, absolutely. So this is quite an adventure from the Midwest to Forbes. How cool is that? What has that experience been like for you?
It's interesting because I grew up in a pretty traditional education-based household. I'm actually the only person in my whole family that doesn't have an advanced degree. My wife's got 13 letters. My mom had 2 masters. My dad has multiple masters. My stepdad was a doctor. My sister's got multiple degrees. And so I was the only person so that's how I was raised, right? It was go to school, go get a job, work really hard, get super educated. And that was my path, and that's what I did. And somewhere along the line, I was introduced to sort of the greater opportunity that it's really not that hard to get your message out or to be bigger than yourself. And it wasn't like I want to be on Forbes. I didn't have that as a goal, but I met people and I was introduced to opportunities. And when you're introduced to opportunities and people, different things open up. And I just reached out and I said, hey, I'd like to do that. How do I do it? And someone said, hey, talk to my friend over here. And next thing you know, my blog articles went to Forbes. So it's actually easier than you think with the right friends, the right contacts, and the right guidance.
So it's all about who you know. Isn't that interesting?
It's all about who you know, but also asking questions, right? We met each other because somebody that we had in common introduced us. Right. And said, hey, you two should know each other, because we put ourselves out there and we were open to an introduction that Pat said, you two would get along. And we both said, all right, if Pat says we should get along, we'll get along. And we put a phone call on the calendar and led here, and you'll be on my podcast shortly. So I think openness more than just the who, the openness to possibilities And I know that's a little bit woo-woo and a little bit broad, but it's really true.
Well, and I think the other key component that you said there is we showed up, right? We
Yep.
showed up with that open heart, that intention of, I know, like, and trust this person, and this person is saying that I'm going to know, like, and trust you. I trust this person, so then I'm open to receiving that relationship. And that only happened because I showed up. I showed up for her, so I was able to show up for you. And I think that's really important. I talked about showing up the other day because I think there's definitely something going on in our world right now, in the world of the business owners, that they're feeling a little disconnected. They're feeling a little stuck. Have you experienced that too?
Oh, very much so. From the first, well, I guess my first entrepreneurial experience, because I wasn't planning on being a business owner, but when I graduated college, it was a bad economy, and I had a history and poli-sci degrees. History and poli-sci doesn't get you a job in a good economy, let alone a bad one. And so I did what any other sort of upper middle class, well-off college graduate does. I went to Europe. And when I was in Europe, I was teaching English at a public school, and interesting story we can get into later about how I got that job. But I was telling one of the other teachers that I was essentially about to be homeless in a foreign country because our lease was up and we only brought a certain amount of cash with us. And we were getting charged the American rate for an apartment, not necessarily the Czech rate. We didn't know we were paying it, 1,000 times what it should really go for in the marketplace. We're like
Oh
$800 a
my.
month for rent. Sounds right to me. Czech people would have paid 80. So we were running out of money, and one of the students overheard it and said, "Hey, my family has an apartment that they bring in English teachers to teach the family English." So next thing I know, I'm teaching a family English and have free rent in exchange for that. And then they introduced me to somebody else, and they introduced me to somebody else. And my roommate and I now had, at one point, 15 different families. We were teaching their kids conversational English because they all wanted their teenagers to be fluent in English. This is 1994, Iron Curtain Wall had fallen, all of that going on. And so that was all of a sudden a business.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this thing's going to be easy. So when I came back to the States, I'm like, I'm going into business. And I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't get clients. I was stuck, and I didn't know where to go. So I've been there now in the COVID environment. A lot of people don't know how to reach out. How do you have that conversation? And the biggest challenge I'm seeing amongst my clients, and again, I work with a lot of, I call them knowledge-based professionals, people who went to school to learn knowledge, or they have a skill and that has become their business, right? They could do it by working for somebody else, but they said, hey, I can hang out my own shingle. And a lot of them came from a corporate background. They were highly successful. They're highly educated. Now they've got a business. They're great practitioners, but they're just not getting clients. They don't have enough people to serve. And that's where I see people getting stuck is, I'm great at what I do, but I can't do it for enough people.
Ooh, so scalability becomes an issue for these small business owners who are knowledge-based business people, because they run into the, how do I duplicate my knowledge onto somebody else, right?
Yeah, yep. And they, I guess when people go to medical school or business school, they don't learn marketing. They don't learn networking. They don't learn sales processes. They learn their skill. When realtors go out, they don't say, hey, realtor, your knowledge of the marketplace doesn't matter. Your ability to find people looking for houses or that want to sell their house is what matters. When you're talking to an accountant, you could be the greatest accountant in the world, but on the CPA exam, they don't teach you how to network and market and bring in more clients. And so we have a lot of people that are out there, but they don't know what to do. So they go to networking meetings, or maybe they write a blog, or they put an ad in XYZ publication and they wait for the phone to ring. Maybe they ask their friends, but they just sit there and the phone doesn't ring, and maybe they get a good business, but it's hard to get a great business until they learn the formula. And in my book, How to Make More Money in Your Business, is all about the formula, not about doing Facebook ads or spending money or even speaking on stage. It's how do you translate your message to what people actually want. What you do can be great, but the messaging might turn to how to make others see the value that they need, not that you offer.
I think that is a critical component that many business owners are missing, right? It's not about how amazing you are at what you do, because you're all amazing at what you do. That's why you do it, because you're really
Yep.
good at it and you like it, right? It's not a question of how good you are at it. It's a question of translation. Things get lost in translation. You understand your industry, you understand the terminology that goes along with that, and you understand what those terms mean. Somebody who's not in your industry doesn't understand any of that. So how do you help them understand? How do you get onto the same page? How do you level that playing field so that way you can meet their expectations or even help them create proper expectations?
Exactly. And I think one of the toughest things for the independent business owner, and again, my clients it's really one person. They might have a staff that does some of the work. They've got partners, but it's really on them to create the business, to create the new clients. And translating what it is, like you said, that they do into the mind of their prospect. And what you need to do, you need to enter the conversation going on in the head of the prospect, right? It's not, hey, I'm a business coach. You need a business coach, right? I firmly believe that you need a business coach no matter what business you're in. But if I tell you that, you don't have that conversation going on in your head.
Right.
What is going on in your head? And there's a problem you have that you don't want and a solution you want that you don't have. So for everybody listening, think about your prospect. What is the problem they have that they want to get rid of? And what is the solution they're seeking that they don't have? And if you can insert yourself as the bridge between those two things, now you've got an opportunity. Like if you're a mortgage broker, nobody wants a mortgage.
No.
Nobody says, hey, what I'm missing in my life is a mortgage.
It's a
right?
30-year chain to this one place. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. They want a home. They want a new house. They want a great place to grow up. They want a bigger backyard for their dogs or their kids. They want a lower payment. They want something different. It's not a mortgage. And in a lot of, especially in this economy, we're in a gig economy. And if you're in the direct sales space, there's a lot of people that have healthy products. And I'm a big fan of direct sales. I'm a big fan of home-based businesses. Even if you have a job, it's a great stream of income and they're great products, but no one wants to buy essential oils, right? They just don't. No one's like, what I am missing is essential oils in my life. No, they want calm. They want better sleep. They want to reduce stress, or they don't want to buy your natural products pills and they don't care about the ginkgo in it. What they care about is brain fog. They wake up every day and they're just not feeling it. That's the problem they have. The solution they want is not a pill. The solution they want is to get rid of that brain fog, to feel better. If you're in a more traditional role, nobody wants to hire an accountant because no one wants to write a check for between $500 and $2,000 so they can write a check to the government, right? What they want is to know that they don't have to stress about making that big check to the government because they're going to have somebody who's going to figure out the techniques and the tips and tricks that are compliant with the law so they don't have a big payment. They want to make sure that they're doing the right withholding. So yes, they maybe not get money back at the end of the year, but they don't have to write a check and everything's seamless, right? So think about that. I know that was a long-winded little tirade there, but that's the biggest difference and the biggest challenge I see is translated. I'm a great business coach into my clients are stressed out about they're just not growing at the pace that they want to, or they're not hitting their goal at the end of the year and they don't know why.
Yeah. It's definitely a mindset positioning situation where like you mentioned, you have to not only understand who you're serving, which is why it's so important to have identified one target audience that you're serving, right? This allows you to get into that physiology and behavior of that client. What are they dealing with? How is their life situation impacting the way that they're thinking, feeling, whatever? And then how is that affecting their behavior? Like you said, they're not looking for essential oils. They're looking to not have to take pharmaceutical medications anymore. Maybe they're not looking for essential oils. They're looking to stop putting toxins on their counters that their kids touch and put in their mouth afterwards. So how can you explain that in a way that's going to be relatable? And maybe they're not even looking for that. They're looking for a way to clean their house better, faster, with less money than having to keep buying these Clorox treatments that are out on the market right now. Right? And what is that long-term effect?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's why it's so important to have that target audience. Aside that, though, is there a tool or a trick or a habit that they might need to get into to help them kind of overcome that translation barrier?
As a matter of fact, there is. And one of the things, and you're in marketing and I'm in marketing, and I'm not telling people that they shouldn't be marketing, but they should think about marketing in a different way, right? A lot of us spend our brain energy and our financial energy, our dollars, on getting more leads, right? We like, if I have more leads, that's what I'm missing. And in real life, you're not actually missing leads. You don't need more leads. You've got all the leads you want in the entire world today. We just need to teach you how to convert those into sales, right? So how do you convert your network into more sales without spending money on marketing or advertising? And Terry and I are of like minds on this. While everyone will eventually spend money on marketing or advertising, if we can fix your message, if we can fix your style, if we can fix what you're doing, we can enhance what you're doing to bring you more money so you can go and blow it up and scale it up really big. But one of the things that I always talk about is to stop marketing backwards. Most people, and this is something that hopefully will resonate with everyone listening, is we tend to tell everyone what we do and then have to explain why they need it, right? You say, I'm an accountant. I help my people save money on taxes. Here's why that's important to you, right? So we lead, and if you go to a networking event in a normal world or even an online networking event, people lead with, here's my business card. Here's what I do. Who do you know that needs better insurance, save money on taxes, essential oils, human growth hormone, a financial advisor, a realtor? Who do you know is buying a house, right? We lead with what we do.
Yes.
And then we have to say, well, here's why that's important to you and your friends. But what if we flip the script around and we said, not what we do, but what's your problem? And say, what's the biggest challenge you're having in your business or life, depending on what your focus is. I'll talk about business because that's my world. What's the biggest challenge you have in your business today?
Right.
And they'll say, well, it's getting more leads, or it's not enough time in the day, or it's I can't find the right talent or hire the right person. And then I can say, interesting, tell me more about that. How would your business be better, faster, stronger if you had that problem fixed? And the reason is, part of it's sales process, but most of it is everyone is going through a journey.
Yes.
No matter what we're doing. And I'll use the Starbucks example. You wake up in the morning and you've got a calendar full of meetings and you think to yourself, I need a little bit of energy. I need a little jolt this morning. I was up late. I'm a little fuzzy because I know I've got this big day ahead of me. I need to be on top of my game. So you get in your car and you drive to Starbucks. While you're doing it, you're thinking about the jolt of energy. And for those of you in the anti-caffeine world, don't judge me on it, but let's just use energy as what caffeine does to you. And you're thinking about that. You're thinking about the smell of coffee. And I'm a big fan of the smell of coffee. And you're like, oh, it's going to taste great. But then you get a little further down the road and you think, I don't want to wait in line at Starbucks. I don't want to spend $4.50 on a cup of coffee. Am I going to be late if there's a long line? Starbucks, there's going to be like 12 people that are just mulling over their like 8-ingredient drink that they're going to get. And all I want is a darn cup of coffee. And you're like, do I really need it this morning? And so you're weighing the benefits and the objections, right? That's the journey you're going down. Now, if those benefits outweigh the objections, you say, hey, yes, I want that coffee. Now you're in vendor selection. Do I want to go to Starbucks, or do I want to go to Pete's, or do I want to go to Dunkin' Donuts? Depending on where you are in the country, you've got a different place of choice or a couple of them. So that journey we all go through. When you buy a car, you don't just wake up one morning, go to the dealership and walk away with a car. You look on, I want an SUV, or I need this many cup holders, or I need this much gas mileage, or whatever it is, and you go through a journey. So if you can ask questions that walk your buyer through that journey, they don't have to know what you do for a living. You're just having a conversation. If you say, what's the biggest challenge in your life? I'm stressed out. Cash flow is always a challenge, whether they're a business owner or not. Right? There are people who have regular jobs that have cash flow challenges. Oh, tell me more about that. Is it, are you not making enough money, or are you spending it all? And they're going to be like, oh, a little bit of both. Well, if you've got a business opportunity, perfect. If you're an accountant, maybe you can save them money on taxes. If you're a recruiter that's looking to fill people in better jobs, it doesn't matter what you do. If you find out what their cash flow challenge is, now you can say, oh, great. If you had an extra couple $100 a month in your pocket, would that help? And oddly enough, if you go back to the Great Recession, and I know it's 12 years ago now, but $700 was the number. $700 a month would have saved 80% of people their homes.
Wow.
Right? It's a very small dollar amount when you think about it.
Yeah.
But if you're an accountant and you're like, if I can save you $300 a month, regardless of what you're doing, would that help you and take a little of that stress off? Oh my God, that would change my life. Fantastic. Well, that's what I do for my clients. I happen to be an accountant. I look over what they're doing from a withholding standpoint, or a tax standpoint, or a benefit standpoint. And I think I can show you that $300 a month. Would that be worth you and I sitting down? Right? You've walked them through a journey, getting them what they want.
And
so
you've
it's the
given
thought
them
process that changes.
Absolutely. And I mention this to my clients and to people that I network with and presentations that I do all the time, is that your clients are on a journey. Whether you're part of that journey or not is entirely up to you. They're taking the journey with or without your acknowledgement. And so if you're part of that journey, you get to help them make that decision to work with you. If you're not part of that journey, they might be making that decision not to work with you, and you had no control over that. They made that decision entirely without you. So wouldn't it be better to be part of that conversation along the way? And I love that you referred to it as a conversation. It's a conversation we're having. People do business with people, not with companies and logos. They do business with people because they want to have that conversation. They want to feel heard. They want to feel valued. Right?
Exactly. Exactly. And everybody's in a different place. And it's maybe oversaid, but I think it's really important, is meet people where they are.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of us, again, on this backwards model that we tend to use, if you look at the whole spectrum of people in the world, 1% of people know that they want to buy your product, are ready to buy your product, and are ready to hear your sales pitch. Right? That's 1% of the people. They're called now buyers. They've already been through the journey, and they're just looking for the right vendor to buy it from. 99% of the people aren't there yet. So if you walk up and you say, hey, I work for XYZ insurance company, I can save you money on your insurance, 1% of the people will be like, honestly, I've been looking to save money on my insurance. I'm glad that you called. The other 99% of people are going to give you the, I'm good, send me some information, not right now. Yeah, I'd be willing to hear what you have to say. But they're not thinking insurance. They're thinking about the fact that they've got a call coming up in 10 minutes. Or if you're at a networking event, they're not there to buy insurance. They're to sell you their accounting, financial advisory, essential oils, health and wellness products, legal services, their widget, whatever it is. They're not thinking I want to buy. They're thinking I want to sell you. So know where you are and understand where to insert your product or service, because only 1% of people are thinking about it. So if you meet them where they are, I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm not really thinking about insurance. I get that most people aren't. However, here's what I found that works for most of my clients. All I do is take 5 minutes. I show you one way to save money on your insurance. If I can, would you be open to seeing other options to save more money for a greater benefit? No one's going to say, no, I'm not open to it, right? So it's positioning you where other people are. And I don't mean to be preachy on it. I'm hoping that people take this in and say, oh, here's what I'm saying. How can I say it in a different way? How can I message it better so it's more receptive? And that same thing rings true on your brochure, on your website, on your emails. I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, you should hire me, is not a message that really translates well.
Because who cares?
And so think about it. No one cares.
I mean, who cares what you can do? I love that, because I think we run across this all the time, right? We all love what we lovingly call the I love me site. I'm amazing. You should want to know me. Right? But why? Why does your client want to know you? What are you doing for them? What difference is it going to make for them at the end of the day? What problem are you solving to know you? It's not about how awesome you are. It's about how awesome you make them.
Exactly. And I run into this challenge personally, right? We're good at this, but we still do it wrong, right? In my bio, and it's out there, it's on my website as well, that I can show any business $30,000 to $50,000 in revenue, and I'll do that for free, right? And that's about me, but it's it's an attention grabber, and there's a whole system I have on interrupting people, stopping them where they are so they actually pay attention to what you're saying. But there's going to be people out there that are like, I just don't buy it. You can't do it. I don't believe you. There's going to be others that say, dude, my company does $3 million in revenue. $30,000 would be great, but what I need is $500,000. Right? And then there's going to be a segment that's like, intriguing, right? But it's about me. I want to stop people so I can start that conversation, find out where they are, find out what their revenues are, find out if that 30 to 50 is important, or why don't we start with 5 or 10, or more importantly, and this is something that I talk about a lot, just one, right? You don't need $100,000. You need one prospect, one lead, one new client. And when you get one, you get one more, right? So where are you? How can I help you get what you need? And then you're likely to want me to help you get more of that. That's my hope. I get you one step, I'll take you the rest of the way.
And you touch on something really important. It's a disruptor. It's the beginning of a disruptor is not to just disrupt a marketplace or to confuse people or to distract you from something. A disruptor is to make you stop. It's intended to start the conversation, not stop the conversation, not help you change course entirely, but to stop you on your normal automatic patterns of behavior so that you can start that conversation, which then leads you down the road of opportunity. And if we figure out what those disrupting key factors are for our individual businesses, we can make all the difference for our business. You've figured out the disrupting factor is If I can help you tap into $30,000 to $50,000 of revenue that you're leaving on the table right now, would you stop and listen to me for 5 minutes? Yeah, I'm going to stop and listen to you for 5 minutes, Adam. You got my attention, right? If you're in a different industry, you have to figure out what that disruptor is for you. If you're in the health and wellness industry, if I could show you how to live pain-free without medication, do you want to know? Yeah, want to know. How do I do that? If I can show you how to never need knee replacement surgery, would you want to know? Yeah, I'd want to know. Because that, at the end of the day, is going to save me a lot of money on the other side of that, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
and it gets me out of pain. It allows me to live the life that I want to live. I can go and do the things that I want to do, and I don't have the worry, the stress, the fear that I'm going to do something to hurt myself accidentally and not know how to fix it. So it's all about, what are you solving? What's the problem you're solving? And what's that disrupting snag line that's going to get people to stop and listen to what you have to say?
Yeah, and I love that you said disruptor, because we get 3,000 advertising hits a day, right? I'm sitting here at my desk. I've got a Nike hat. I've got a whatever drink with some mutual fund company that I got at some event. I've got a Dell computer or a Lenovo computer. I've got a Kleenex box. I've got an Apple phone, right? If I walked out of this room and sat for 5 minutes and someone said, tell me all the stuff that you have on your desk, I'd be hard pressed to remember it all, right? Because our brains have been trained to ignore advertising, right? TV advertising, radio advertising. When you're driving down the street, you've got billboards and you've got street signs and you've got store names at strip malls, and you've got car brands and you've got all this stuff coming at you. We ignore it, right? We flat out ignore it. And how do you get people to pay attention? And as a basic example, and I'm not saying everyone should go out there and get themselves a gecko, but Geico has that gecko. That gecko does not sell insurance, and it's not meant to. It's meant to stop you and be like, what's that gecko going to say today? This goes back a ways, but Tiger Woods used to do Buick commercials, right? And people who, whether you're a golf fan or not, he was probably the biggest sports celebrity in the world for a 10-year period of time. And you look up and you're like, ooh, Tiger Woods. And you're like, oh, I don't need a car. And you go back to what you're doing. So how do we stop people? How do we disrupt what they're doing, take their eyes off their work, off their cooking, off their cleaning, off their children for a split second? So they say, hey, what's that over there? So then you can say, hey, I've got what you need. You don't tell them what it is. You just say, hey, you know that problem you have? That knee pain, that back pain, that tiredness, that lack of cash flow, that stress that you have about making enough money, or that stress you have about having a big tax bill. I can solve that. And then you can go and educate them why you're the solution. Sure. And walk them through that journey. So I love that you use the word disruptor. The disruption is not I sell insurance. The disruption is you are blank. How would you like to stop that?
Yeah.
Right?
I love it.
If a gecko works for you, go for it. For most of us, it's going to be some sort of disrupting tagline of, you're in pain. Are you ready to do something about it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then your client is going to step up and say, yeah, I'm finally ready.
Exactly. And it's how do you become visible in a market where you're otherwise invisible? And that's the only way to become visible in a market where you're otherwise invisible. This has been so beautiful. I wish we had more time together, because I know that we could keep going for a while longer.
Yeah, we could do
Adam,
this for days.
What's going to be the best way for my listeners to get in touch with you? Because I know everybody listening to this is going to be like, wait a minute. You can help me find 30 to 50,000 in my money right now, are going to want that. So how are they going to be able to reach you to do that?
Yes. And it does work. I will find it for you. And I hope enough of you will say, you know what, Adam, I actually want to make that happen and I want to work with you on it, but I will actually show you how to do it yourself. If you go to coachwithak.com, you can book a time or get on my calendar that way, or just send me an email at adam@coachwithak.com. And I have a proven process, $30,000 to $50,000. If you don't want to get on the phone because we all have a lot of things going on, and I get it, you can also get my book, which walks you step by step through it, at freebookfromadam.com. It's a free book. It's short. It's do this, read this, do this, read this, do this. It's step by step, 8 steps on how to find that $30,000 to $50,000 in your business without spending any money on marketing or advertising. It's very step by step. So go there, and I just appreciate the time, and hopefully a couple of these nuggets are things that can transform your business. That's why we do this, right? Any ancillary business, any new clients we get are wonderful, but ideally, if we can change a few lives just by giving a few nuggets, that's why this is fun.
And that's why we do what we do. I love it. I love your heart. I so appreciate you sharing such tremendous wisdom today. This has been an awesome conversation. And I look forward to the next one.
Definitely. Thanks, Carrie. I appreciate you being here. And thanks, everyone, for listening and taking some time out of your day to let us talk a little bit and even rant.
That's great. Thanks. Till next time.